Hey, fifth graders, Mr. Bell here. All right, well, let's go ahead and get started on your next project. And that is going to be a landscape with hills. And in this, I would like you to have a foreground, a middle ground, and a background. And in your foreground, that'll be your more rural area, out in the country. As you're heading towards your city, you'll start getting to some subdivisions with some houses. You'll start getting into the suburban area. That's in between the rural and the urban. And then finally off in the distance, way in the background, you will have your urban area. So you'll have some skyscrapers showing and your downtown city area. So also I want you to think about using a value scale in here, from light to medium to dark when you're making your hills and your road. That'll help make it look more 3D and more realistic. And that's the next thing, and we're doing realism style, so you want this picture to look realistic. So add lots of nice details, and it's not a cartoon type picture. This is more realism, okay? And it's definitely not abstract. The total opposite of that. Here's an example of the project. This was done by a student, and I want you to notice that the value scale from dark to medium to light, dark to medium to light, dark to medium to light, and also in the hills, dark to medium to light, dark to medium to light, dark to medium to light. That helps give it that roly-poly feel and three-dimensional, like the road is really going off in the distance to the vanishing point way back here. And notice that the road gets narrower and narrower on each hill. I think this student did a really good job, and there's your rural area here, and then you're getting into your suburban area back here. You start seeing some houses and neighborhoods, and that's where you find shopping malls and all that kind of stuff. And then off in the distance is your urban area. There's even a few factories back here. What color you make all these things, that's up to you, okay? And they did a nice blend in the sky, and had an airplane and a helicopter, news channel 2, whatever. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started on this. You'll need a sheet of paper and a pencil, and they colored this in with colored pencil. I think that's the best for a little detail, but you could use marker and crayon and all that if you want to. For the blending and the value scale, you'll have to use crayon or colored pencil. It's not going to work with marker, is it? No. Okay, so first thing is you want to have your foreground, and so you just draw a line across here like this. Try to keep it relatively even. I could have made that a little more even. And I'm going to erase this and straighten it out a little bit. That's what you want to do ahead of time. That's what erasers are for, and see if I can make this a little straighter. Okay. Now I'm going to go in here and do my middle ground. And for the background, I do some hills back here, so. There we go, some little roly-poly hills, like you might see in North Georgia, as you head north of here. All right, so next, pick where you want your vanishing point to go for your one-point perspective, and I'm going to pick it right here and put a triangular shape right there. There we go. Now, there's a back side of this hill we don't see, so this road's going down, it's coming up, and it's going to come down, so you need to make this part wider. Jump over here a little bit. Make sure that these lines are diagonal. All right, because they're coming towards you, so it's getting wider and wider and closer to you. Sort of picture yourself, maybe you're up in a helicopter and you're flying towards the city off in the distance. All right, and you're looking down. So when it comes to these dashes in the middle, I like to put a really light guideline down the center. I'm going to erase that line later. And so I'm using it as a guide. You can't see that. Take a close look. See that guideline? Okay. So I'm just going to use it to put my dashes in the road. And as you get into the middle ground, the dashes, you're going downhill, coming back up again, they should be much narrower, much smaller. So it looks like it's going off in the distance. I'm just putting them on the side of this guideline. You just do your best with this. And now they're even getting smaller. Make sure your pencil point's really sharp when you do some of this stuff. And as I'm working down here, look, they're getting closer together. They're getting narrower. This will help create depth and make it look like it's going off into the distance to the vanishing point over here. Right to your horizon line. There's your horizon line. At a certain point, you really can't even see the dashes anymore. Okay, there you go. It really looks like it's going off in the distance. And then back here is where you're going to put your urban area. So you put some, the smaller you make these buildings, the further away the city looks. So, be careful with that. So put a little stadium here and put some buildings. The hill's slanting, so don't make your buildings slant. That doesn't make sense. You need to keep them level. So as you go up and come across, that line's going to be shorter, that's going to be longer. Okay? These buildings are just poking up on the other side of the hill. Put a little water tower here. Alright, you just keep adding more buildings till it looks good to you. I'm going to put some middle ground buildings and some tall skyscrapers in back of those. So you just go to the top of a building, go up, come across, come down. Maybe one that's behind, maybe a triangular shaped one. I'm going to put a tall skyscraper here. Think about all the buildings that are in Atlanta and places like that. Where you see tall skyscrapers and Buckhead, and Savannah has a couple of tall ones, not really. Yeah. So things like that. Okay. Now you want to think about your suburban area. Okay. So you want to add a little road. My eraser there. Put that there so I can see it. Running this line parallel to this. This is just a little road you could turn off of to go into a neighborhood. Maybe put one on this side too. And also back here, I forgot to mention, if you want to add any hills or something back here, feel free to do that. Might make your picture look a little more interesting, And we'll erase this so it looks like you can turn in there, and you can put a little stop signs up here if you want to for some realism. Just color little red dots in there will look like stop signs. And then you can start. And be careful the size you make your house, because look at the size of your road. You want it to make sense. Just take your best guess. And put a garage here, and a little sidewalk going to the front door, some windows, some bushes under the windows, or maybe some bushes here, and put a roof. So you think about the kind of little chimney up there, and think about the kind of house that you want to have, or houses, as you make a neighborhood going across here. Okay, so I'm going to start working on some more houses. Okay, so I fast forwarded a little bit and I put some detail in my trees, give it some texture, add a little pond, stretch it out like this, because what it would look like from the side, the way it would look from the air looking down. Have some houses here. Notice I tried to make the doors all the same height and the garage doors the same height so it looks correct. Had some trees and some more trees back here in the distance. They're getting smaller as they get further away. So think about all that. I have sidewalk going along here, and there's a person waving to the person in this car. Got a couple people here walking on the sidewalk. There's some stop signs, some cattails in this little pond, some flowers down here and over here. There's all my buildings. Added some more hills off in the distance, and now I can come in here like this and put some details in the building, some little windows, and just put some lines like this. And the ones up close, you can see that's like a 3-story building. This one's way taller. So think logically about it when you put your lines in there. There we go. I'm going to keep adding some little texture to some of these. And these can be, when you color this in, these can be all kinds of different colors. You just have to decide. And let's go ahead and start talking about the value scale. All right, remember, from light to medium to dark. See how this student really paid attention to directions and did light, medium to dark. So we're going to go ahead and do a little demo on that. So when you begin coloring yours in, you can think of the same thing. So, for instance, I'm going to go from light to medium, from dark to medium to light. All right, do that across over here too. So it matches. Same thing here. Dark to medium to light. Dark to medium to light. And same thing here. So you want to go from dark to medium to light. There's your road. Alright, same thing. Dark to medium to light. It takes a while to do, but it'll really make your hills look more three-dimensional. And when it comes to the road, same thing. So I would definitely do all your yellow first in your little dashes. Color those in ahead of time, all the way up till you get to the vanishing point. Sharpen your pencil really well to get these little parts. So as you're coloring these, same thing. Yeah, my pencil just broke. You know, colored pencils break very easily, so if you make them too pointy, they just break really easily, and that's already come out again. I'm having pencil problems. There we go. So from dark to medium to light, dark, medium, light. Dark is a little trickier back here. To medium and to light. And of course, whatever it is here is what you'll do along here, so it matches. And your driveways. All right, super light over here. Medium, a little sort of light medium in here. And as you're working your way up, you get darker and darker and darker off into the distance. You've got to have a good touch for this. You just have to, and then in between here, just very lightly kind of try to fill in the gaps. Okay? So that's some things, those are some things to think about, and I'm going to go in here and these little stop signs. And your treetops and all that stuff. So get these little dashes, outline it, and sort of color it in kind of lightly. And get tree trunks and your sky. And let's go ahead and take a look at this one again, because I think this is really good. I don't think you need to outline the blue here. That's kind of strange, but that should just go off the side with the color. All right. So, all right, you have a good time with this. Take your time. These take a while to do. Search for quality rather than speed. Okay? All right. You have a good time with this. I can't wait to see your rural, suburban, urban landscapes. All right. Bye-bye.